I am genuinely amazed after processing the details shared in this video. A new report has surfaced this morning containing an astonishing news item alongside an update regarding the future implications for the 49ers. The first piece of information that strikes me as particularly surprising pertains to the actions of the general manager and the head coach of the team. According to a credible source from Denver, the narrative reveals that before the 27-year-old player signed a 3-year contract valued at $35 million with the Denver franchise during free agency, San Francisco made a personal visit to the linebacker's home in Texas earlier this offseason and even surpassed Denver's offer to acquire the services of Greenlaw. A local publication reported on Sunday, citing sources close to the matter, that the general manager and the head coach indeed traveled to Greenlaw's residence in Texas for a meeting. Various insiders confirmed to the publication that San Francisco ultimately presented a more competitive offer than the Broncos, who were seeking Greenlaw to reinforce the strength of their defense. However, it seems that the 49ers management only enhanced their proposal after the Broncos had already expressed interest in Greenlaw, according to sources. There are aspects of this story that deserve deeper analysis. Let's take a moment to reflect on this. The team was extremely committed to keeping a crucial player, going as far as visiting his home in an attempt to convince him to stay with the club, as well as presenting a more favorable offer compared to another team to secure his stay. The team demonstrated a strong desire to retain this player, even going so far as to travel to his house to persuade him to stay. They surpassed the competitor's offer, proposing a contract that offered better terms in the hope of keeping him as part of the team. It is interesting to note that the team was actively seeking to ensure his stay, even after he had made a verbal agreement with another team, but before formalizing any contract. However, the player chose to join the other team, despite the more attractive financial offer he received. His family was quite excited by this change. Upon hearing the news, I reached out to a relative who was completely satisfied. However, this situation is fascinating when considering its implications. It reveals quite a bit about how the team's leadership perceives the player and how they evaluate the current roster. Firstly, it is clear that they hold this athlete in high regard, as evidenced by their willingness to travel great distances to try to secure his stay, even after a verbal commitment had already been made. They exhausted all options in their attempt to bring him back. This leads us to an important point. The player could not overlook the opportunity to become the starting linebacker on a new team at the peak of his career. If I could imagine the conversations happening behind the scenes, I would suggest that he is certainly intrigued by the new team and the chance for a fresh start. The prospect of embracing new experiences and starting a new chapter brings benefits that go beyond the football season. However, from a sports perspective, it seems that what he truly wanted was to position himself as the main leader on the field. He sought to shape his own story in the game, striving to be recognized as a key player who attracts both praise and the pressure that comes with that position. This does not mean that his team change was simply an impulsive decision. On the contrary, it highlights his ambition to elevate his career. His goal was to be the center of attention, seeking to build his own narrative and aiming to reach the peak of his sports career, wanting to be the one who receives all the praise or bears all the pressure, as you prefer to interpret it. I am not suggesting that he is merely changing teams to improve his personal situation. That is not the point I am addressing. However, I believe this is the reality we are facing. During this period, the management was not looking for a replacement for Greenlaw. All the information we obtained indicated that the organization wanted to keep him. There were no concerns about his health. There was confidence in his abilities. Financially, they had enough resources allocated for him. There is much to discuss about this, and I could delve deeper into the subject. For now, I will pause to express my sincere feelings about the matter. I feel truly disheartened by this news, as it validates our collective assumptions. It reaffirms the perception that Greenlaw should have significant value this season and still will. This confirmation of his value is, in fact, devastating for me, as I realize that the organization genuinely believed in his promising future and did not view his injury as a significant concern. This was not characteristic of the organization, which is often preferred to avoid players with a history of injuries. Although I did not explicitly state this, the issue is not that the organization distances itself from athletes who have had injuries. The team clearly wanted to keep Dre Greenlaw and made a considerable effort to retain him, even risking significant financial commitments to do so. They even went to his house to try to convince him to stay. Zation did everything it could to convince him to stay. They tried their best, but they couldn't overcome that last obstacle. However, what brings me some comfort is that I am fully certain that this situation was out of the team's hands. There is nothing the executives could have done to keep him, and that's why that farewell happened. Dre Greenlaw probably knew from the start that he was leaving, and even mentioned this to some teammates during the time they spent together in Mexico, long before any final decision was made. Greenlaw was prepared for this new chapter, this new opportunity, whatever you want to call it. It remains a bit uncertain, and no one really knows, but it is clear that this decision was beyond the organization's hands. This awareness brings some relief because at least I know that when my family and I sit down to watch Denver Broncos games on Sundays, I will have that certainty. Seeing Dre Greenlaw wearing blue and orange, performing spectacularly, and showing the talent we've always admired, I will be able to recognize that the organization did its best. If they hadn't tried so hard and Greenlaw remained healthy next season, performing exceptionally well, many of us would surely wonder what more could have been done. The same applies to Hufanga, as we might feel some regret for not doing more to keep him. So knowing that they tried their best brings a little comfort. Now, the question that arises is about the next steps. Recently, an article addressed the situation of linebackers, emphasizing that Greenlaw's departure was the most significant loss of the offseason, a sentiment that I fully agree with, as do many others. The article indicated that within the current roster, D. Winters and Tatum Bethune are both potential candidates to assume starting positions, with Curtis Robinson also being mentioned. Winters, who gained valuable experience by participating in 15 games in 2024, 10 of which as a starter, recorded 44 tackles, 26 solo, and 4 pass defenses in his second season. Tatum Bethune and D. Winters are both candidates to become fixed starters, as is Curtis Robinson, who is also included in this discussion. The former player had a notable role in 15 games in 2024, 10 of which were as a starter, totaling 44 tackles, with 26 of them solo, as well as 4 pass breakups in his second season. We will discuss Tatum or D. Winters soon, but let's continue. Tatum Bethune participated in 11 games, predominantly on special teams with 165 plays, while recording only 51 on defense. Veteran Curtis Robinson renewed his contract with the organization, but the date for his return after the ACL injury remains uncertain. I really hope Curtis Robinson turns out to be a big asset, given his trajectory, which includes turning down an offer from another team. Quality linebackers are also scarce in the 2025 NFL draft class, with only 2 players being considered by draft analysts as potential first-round picks. Both have often been linked to a team in mock drafts. Therefore, any of these athletes would be an excellent addition. However, one of them worsened after undergoing surgery to correct a labrum injury following the NFL Combine. This could prove to be a valuable opportunity for the team if they're interested. An analyst from NFL Network still projects him in the 9th position, while another places him lower, at 19th, being selected by a different team. The labrum injury, therefore, could turn into an interesting chance. Both are top prospects, and either one would represent a significant addition. Another player is projected as a hybrid linebacker and pass rusher capable of pressuring the quarterback. The defensive coordinator is surely already thinking about how to take advantage of these players' skills, even if one of them lacks significant experience in coverage, which would require some adjustment. The defensive coordinator is considering various ways to maximize these players' skills, keeping in mind the physical capabilities that each brings. However, some adaptation will be needed, as one of them doesn't have much experience in coverage, which seems to have been one of the main challenges before. It's clear that this was a difficulty for another athlete, and I'm relieved I don't recall their name right now. Another player also struggled with coverage, showing weaknesses in crucial moments and frequently positioning himself incorrectly, resulting in further complications. Another athlete often ended up compensating for these mistakes. We definitely want to avoid a similar scenario. The situation the team is facing revolves around the choice of selecting a new player or trusting two specific athletes, both of whom are expected to improve their performance. Each of them has valid reasons to develop and raise their game on the field. If one of them manages to take another leap forward, as mentioned before, there's potential to become a player comparable to another respected athlete in terms of skills. However, it is believed that there are still strides to be made to effectively fill the void left behind. If given the chance to become a fixed starter alongside an experienced player, it would certainly be interesting to observe how this situation unfolds. Patience will be needed as we watch the circumstances evolve. Choosing a player with the potential to transition from college football to the professional league presents a significant challenge due to the vast differences between the two levels. This change is already quite complex. The transition from college to pro football, while assuming a starting role and dealing with the gap left by a key player from last season, presents a considerable hurdle. There is optimism about these prospects, but questions arise about whether a solution will emerge from the draft. Ideally, we would see one of these players adapt to the role and make significant progress. If that happens, there is potential for them to become one of the top talents with the right guidance. A significant opportunity arises in this scenario. I'm not sure if this will really happen. What I would really like to see is D. Winters stepping into that role and embracing it enthusiastically. To be honest, this would be a huge leap for him, and he could become a top-tier talent. With the right mentorship, D. Winters has a great chance ahead of him, and I really hope he takes advantage of it. We are 25 days away from the 2025 NFL Draft, and that moment is finally approaching. It's important to keep following daily to know how to get involved in this activity when the time is right, especially when we reach the 10,000 mark. Thank you all. I hope you're having a great Sunday, and that this brings positive energy to your week. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Could Dak Prescott be the game-changing quarterback the San Francisco 49ers need? As the NFL offseason heats up, rumors are swirling about the possibility of the star quarterback swapping his Cowboys uniform for the red and gold of San Francisco. While Prescott has long been the face of the Dallas Cowboys, his future is now uncertain after a roller coaster of performances and a contract that puts him under intense scrutiny. But what if the 49ers, already stacked with talent, could be the perfect fit for the embattled QB? The 49ers' current quarterback situation remains a major point of speculation. With Brock Purdy's rise last season and Trey Lance still working to find his footing, the question lingers. Could Prescott provide the stability and leadership this team needs to finally break through to the Super Bowl? Although Prescott's 2024 campaign was riddled with inconsistency, his struggles with injuries and turnovers making headlines, his potential to thrive in the right system remains undeniable. San Francisco, known for its strategic play calling and elite defense, could provide the perfect environment to revitalize his career. Despite Prescott's up-and-down performances in recent seasons, the allure of his potential is hard to ignore. With a career that boasts 4 division titles and 3 Pro Bowl selections, his skill set remains impressive. However, it's his ability to perform under pressure, leading the Cowboys to top seeds in the NFC, that could catch the 49ers' eye. His leadership and veteran experience would be an invaluable asset to a team that's already made it to the NFC Championship in recent years. Yet, the financial side of a potential move remains a major hurdle. Prescott's massive contract extension, worth $240 million over 4 years, is a looming factor in any trade talks. How could the 49ers afford such a high-profile acquisition, especially when their salary cap is already tight? Would the Cowboys be willing to eat some of Prescott's salary, or would the 49ers have to find creative ways to restructure their roster to accommodate him? With so many moving parts, the question remains, will Dak Prescott join the 49ers in 2025? That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.